Yes, guys, welcome to Rio Reacts, the place to catch all of my unfiltered, raw reactions to the stories.
And it's usually like some of the wild things I said, the transfer window, right?
Man United have worked early, innit? This Club World Championships has thrown that in, by the way. It's opened the window of opportunity to go and do business.
Quick. They've had to move quick because it's going to be shut down for a while.
So it was nice to see that teams are moving, and United have moved kind of quick, man.
Are you happy?
Cunha, yeah, happy with Cunha. He's one of the ones I mentioned on my list. Hope it goes well for him. Problem is, I've been happy many times in transfer windows, and it's gone wrong. So I'm hoping he's not going to be added to that list, yeah? And then if they get Mbeumo, be very happy.
It's mad because why is that down as if it's completed, but it's not completed yet? It's confusing. It's throwing me off.
Because he wants to come.
Okay.
Mbeumo wants to come.
Okay.
I know it.
Okay.
But his stats over the last 3 seasons in the Premier League are up there, by the way. Goals and assists, goal chances, like ridiculous. So, again, another proven Premier League player. This is what I like. Played in the Premier League. There ain't no adjustment business.
Sound like flex.
The only thing is there's going to be adjustment because of the size of the club. They don't have to do that when they go Arsenal.
That's massive, though.
Don't have to do that when they go Arsenal or Chelsea.
So what, Declan didn't need to do that, no?
An adjustment? No, he just breezed in there like it was nothing. He did.
It's true.
That's down to his ability, but also there's not that pressure on the club and the spotlight.
Don't do that, Rio.
The badge ain't as heavy.
Don't do it. It's very heavy.
No, it's heavy, but it's not as heavy.
Nah, bro.
It ain't. You man have to realise and have to accept it. The badge at Man United is a heavy badge, bro. That's why when you look at our generation when we played here, people go, oh, yeah. When the ones that going in there now and the last 10 years are going, rah, them man were carrying some big badge and still delivered. Woo!
I was gonna say before we move on, you're talking about those 2 players. If you're agent Rio and your job is to finish the transfer market, how many more players are you signing this
Number 9.
Number 9.
They already know who I want. The people know, the comments know who I want, who I would go and get. Osimhen. It looks like he's turned down Al Hilal. He must be waiting for Man United. I don't know if Man United are going to come.
Go in
I don't know if Man United are going to go.
This is why we need to test the people who know about PSR and all this stuff, because
we're going to get someone on in a minute, aren't we?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're going to get Kieran Maguire. You know, remember Kieran Maguire was on a previous show before? He's coming on any second now.
Nice.
But if they don't get him, Gyökeres.
Yeah.
I'll take him.
I heard he's thrown a little bit of a fit, you know, because there was a gentleman's agreement that he would be sold for 50-something million, right? But because Sporting know that Man United, they got the cash, let's be honest with you. They're now trying to shift him for 60, 70 million or whatever with add-ons. And now he's not happy, obviously.
I would be the same.
So he's taken off everything from the bio.
I'd be the same. I'd be causing a fuss, 100%. So if you got an agreement, you got to stick by it, surely. But we'll see. Should we get him on?
Let's get him on, please. All right, cool. So talking about transfers, he did an amazing job earlier on this season. So it's only right we get him back, Mr. Kieran Maguire.
Hey, there he is.
Hi guys, how we doing?
Very good, very good. Yourself?
Splendid. There's no end of season in the world of football finance.
It's all blended into one. It's just how we like it, us football fans.
Absolutely.
Right, let's get into it straight away, Kieran. Man United's finances. What are they looking like this summer? And how much do we have in the bank? Do we have to rely on the selling the likes of Rashford, Garnacho, Anthony?
Well, Manchester United have certainly got cash in the bank, but they also owe £400 million in instalments on players that they've bought in previous years. So there's that, which is a bit of a problem. I think the finances are not as bad as they've been painted in some of the media. I think there's some of the comments have been a bit misleading. So that's why we've seen Manchester United being able to go big and go early as far as the market is concerned. Their accounts came out for the first 9 months of the year last week. The wage bill's down quite a bit, but then they're probably saving £700,000-800,000 a week because Jadon Sancho's out on loan, Marcus Rashford's out on loan, Anthony's out on loan. So all of that's good. Those players, of course, are coming back on the 30th of June as far as the wage bill is concerned. I suspect they'll be looking to move some or all of those players on in order to free up space on the wage bill, but also to bring in some decent transfer fees, and one out allows one to come in as well.
What are you hearing about any of those transfers? Because obviously you're very fully invested in like the PSR and have a real one. You're kind of nitpicking all of that area. So you might be seeing stuff that some of the other people that aren't so kind of deep in it, you might see more detail. What are you hearing about the likes of Anthony, Garnacho, Rashford, etc.
The manager doesn't want those players. So it's in their interests in terms of the development of their career that they move on. And, you look at those three players between them, they can command some decent transfer fees. That money goes back into the pot. And Manchester United can therefore strengthen the squad in the places that they feel that needs the most assistance.
So Man United have spent 60 million on, or 60-ish million on Cunha. How much roughly do you think they have to work with?
Well, they could easily go for another 100 million without a problem. I mean, in 24-25, I've got the numbers in front of me. I've got the accounts. Manchester United spent £271 million in the last two windows. I think a lot of it seemed to go a bit under the radar. Manchester United's problem historically is that they've actually spent the same amount of money as most other clubs, certainly at the very top, with the exception of Chelsea, who are in a different league in terms of their spending. But they've matched Manchester City. They spent far more than Arsenal and Spurs, and so on. So they have certainly spent the money. Their problem is that they've not been very good at bringing the money in. That for every £5 that Chelsea have generated from player sales, Manchester United have only generated one. I think that's the area that the club needs to address, because you get the pump priming at the sales end, and that allows you to buy players as well.
Is that because we're overpaying wages and we're finding it difficult to get the players out, because if they're on 300 or 250 grand a week and they're having to go elsewhere after a couple of bad seasons, they're getting offered 120 grand a week? Who's going to take a half cut wage salary?
Well, I think that's certainly one consideration. I mean, Manchester United's a destination club. As far as players are concerned, you know from your own career, Rio, where else can you go? Where higher can you go from a footballing perspective than Old Trafford? So
Real Madrid.
It makes it that much more of a challenge when other clubs are coming in for offers. And you might say, well, I might be able to persuade the manager to have a rethink about playing. I'm on a very good salary. Why take a pay cut? So it's that difficult decision. We saw Scott McTominay make that decision last summer, and that worked for him. But I think he's the exception rather than the rule. I think there's other players there who still want to fight for their places, still believe in their ability, and they want to play in front of 74,000 people a week at Old Trafford.
Just to move it on to Arsenal, because we've got an Arsenal fan next to me, Joel. Arsenal, I've seen, are the most profitable club in the Premier League history, and this window they'll be able to reap the benefits of that. And so they'll have a circa almost 200 million pounds to spend. So if they don't get a striker, what the hell is your club doing?
They've got the capacity to spend, without doubt. That they are a very well-run club. Over the last 2 to 3 seasons, they've also had the benefit of Champions League participation every year. The Champions League is worth more money than ever before because we've moved to the Swiss model. So you've got 4 guaranteed home games. You've got really, from a point of view of a club the size of Arsenal, a minimum £70 million coming through in prize money. And if they get all the way to the final, you can more than double that. So the money is not an issue. I think it's a case of finding the right player and then making sure that player will integrate into the Arsenal style of play to make sure that they deliver results.
Yeah, because, I mean, with 200 million, it sounds like, it's everything. But if you're already paying 92.5 for Cisco, you can even round it up to 100.
Is that what they're paying for Cisco?
That's the price, bro.
Wow.
Like, then, you know what I mean? That's half your money gone already. Obviously, and we're also not great at selling as well. We're like United. We're not as good as Chelsea when it comes to selling. So as much as that is,
that has just thrown me 92 million for Cisco. Has he been top goal scorer in the Bundesliga yet?
Not top goal scorer, but like,
wow,
yeah. So it's like we're looking at him as an investment for the future. That's the problem. That's he will turn good, but is he going to be good enough now? That's our question. Have
Arteta got time to look to the future?
That's the question. Like I think in today's world, you know more than anyone. Like, managers, you're working on an 18-month period, man.
It's mad. I've got a list here of the healthiest PSR clubs. Chelsea, how the hell are Chelsea top, please, with 300 million? Can I just go through the list? Chelsea are top, Brighton are second on 295, City are third after what they spent the last couple of windows is crazy, Spurs are fourth, Arsenal fifth, Man United are 6th, West Ham 7th, Palace 8th, Forest are 9th on 85 mil, and Newcastle are 10th with 8 million to spend. What is that?
Yeah, I think that's really harsh on Newcastle. My calculations, I've got them far better than than those figures being quoted. Newcastle have had 3 very quiet windows, and the initial spending that was associated with the club when PIF acquired Newcastle United, that's dropping out of the equation. So I think Newcastle are in a much stronger position, although it could be argued that what they should be signing over the course of the summer is Isak and Bruno on bigger, longer contracts to make sure that they protect the quality of the squad that they've already got. In terms of Chelsea having this 300 million, 200 million of that comes from selling the women's team to themselves, and another 70 million or 60 to 70 million comes from selling a couple of car parks to themselves as well. Without that, Chelsea would be in a really tricky position.
Kieran, is this legal?
It is. It's within the Premier League rules. The Premier League had the opportunity to close that loophole last week, and the club owners decided they quite liked it because it's seen as a get-out-of-jail-free card.
I bet they did.
That Chelsea have used, and therefore the other clubs say, well, perhaps we want to use that as well. And that could certainly assist. If Manchester United wanted to spend more, if Aston Villa want to spend more, if Newcastle United spend more, could they go down a similar route? Well, possibly, yes.
Wow.
That is insane.
But you got to give it to Chelsea, yeah?
Yes.
Their owners have come in, they've created a new model, right? Everyone laughed at them. Everyone ridiculed them, said there's no chance they're going to finish anywhere. If you was a player, you'd never sign for Chelsea, blah, blah. They've swept up some of the best talents in the world. They've got some young Brazilians that I can't wait to see hit the ground running, right?
When he signs.
Mate, they're coming, right? So I can't wait. They've done that. They've gone full throttle with it and just backed themselves and then found a few loopholes that some people are turning their nose up at. But I think if there's a loophole to be had, it's there to be had. And they've exploited that, and that's what Premier League's doing, not theirs. They've just noticed, they've seen it, gone for it, and then utilise it to their own benefit.
Yeah, they've got loads of players that they want to sell as well in the summer.
Yeah, in terms of selling players, I don't think they can be beat at the minute. Them and City probably.
And they're trying to be a little astute about it as well. I don't know if you saw they didn't want to sign AC goalkeeper, the Mignon guys, because they were like, "No, we'll just wait." Which is the first time. Normally they just go for it. But yeah, I think what they're doing over there, even though I don't like it for obvious reasons, but businessmen, they're tops.
What about City? I mean, because they're under duress, they're under stress in terms of a court case, but they're still spending like it's like confetti.
Yeah, well, again, you mentioned it, that their ability to sell players is fantastic. Jesus, Sterling, Zinchenko, Alvarez, Ferran Torres, Sane, Palmer, Cancelo, Danilo.
Wow.
All of those players, they brought in half a billion pounds.
£500 million?
From player sales.
Wow.
In the last 3 to 4 years. They're absolutely super smart. And then you've got the likes of James Trafford and others who have gone from City's academy, sort of, again, for those sort of 8, 10, 15 million pounds fees. So that allows City to spend as much money as they want. And let's face it, we'd all be happily to be a pound behind City as far as our bank accounts were concerned.
They probably got sell-on fees as well for some of these young players as well. Who knows? It's crazy, man.
Well, Kieran, listen, thanks a lot, man. Really appreciate your time. As always, perfect roundup of everything. Really clear, transparent. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Rio, that was very interesting, very enlightening information, to be honest with you. We have to get him back, hopefully, before the start of the new season, man. Really good. But for everybody watching, I want you to get involved, all right? Because the channel is gonna get ramped up this summer. You think, it's the end of the season. No. We got the content flying. We got interviews. We got throwback content. We want to get you guys involved. We've got Q&A episodes coming up as well, right?
Yeah, a load of them. So looking forward to it, man. Let's go.
Listen, make sure you follow the socials as well, because I notice it's ramping up as well since the end of the season. So please make sure you like, share, comment and subscribe. Joel Bayer, Rio Ferdinand, Rio Reacts. We will be back soon. Peace.
Thanks, guys, for listening to this episode of Rio Reacts. Hope you've enjoyed this show. And if you have, make sure you leave us a review and follow this Rio Ferdinand Presents feed to make sure you never, ever miss an episode. If you've got a point you think we should be discussing or want to put us on the spot with a question you want answering, get in touch using the fans first at rioferdinandpresents.com email address or use #RFP on social. See ya on the next one.